So there's been no update in the Southern District of Illinois case that the federal firearms licensees of Illinois brought forward to try to delay the January 1st deadline of the state's gun and magazine ban. I'll be refreshing that docket all throughout the day today because we're expecting a ruling promptly, the judge said. We already had a ruling in the MAG case that was heard back in October, if you recall, and the judge denying a motion for partial summary judgment, which is not a preliminary injunction. It was a motion for partial summary judgment on vagueness grounds, which would have been final action in the district court. But Judge Stephen McGlynn decided against that. For a variety of reasons, claiming that the plaintiffs didn't state their case clearly enough, to not having other plaintiffs groups as part of that. So we'll see what happens. But while that was in the MAG case, we still have yet to see the judge put anything out on the issue of the federal firearms licensees, Gun Save Life, and other organizations and plaintiffs groups in that case asking for the January 1st deadline to be suspended or delayed. So no update there, but clearly you've got the ongoing concerns as to the January 1st deadline that's happening. And listen, I get tons of messages from people, email messages, and even Facebook messages, Twitter messages. I've got stuff backlogged in all of those things that I need to go back and respond to and clear out, so I can at least get it absorbed into my brain. But I did go through some voicemails that I have had stacked up on my cell phone, which I do put my phone number out on the internet. I don't know if that's the best idea to do, but people do call, and I really do appreciate people who call. Even I think one morning we were having some audio problems on the program, and somebody actually called my phone to let me know that I was having audio problems on the live stream. So that's good to know you guys are that plugged in, and really appreciate it. But some messages I got, and I just wanted to review these briefly, and I'm not going to air them. Maybe I set up a voicemail system where you guys can actually call in and I can air those voicemails. But I got a message from Ken, and he said that he thinks the suspected goal and the final result of the registry, again, the registry that takes place January 1st, he says it could mean that if you don't register, you're not a law-abiding citizen, which can put your FOID card in jeopardy and ultimately lead to people being disarmed in the state of Illinois. So Ken had that suggestion of suspected motive. Again, that was a voicemail I got. Another listener, Jeff, he asked if the governor saying that if you recall last week, he said that he believes that there's widespread understanding of the law, the governor said. That widespread understanding, he says, is there and people are registering. And then he went on to talk about registering automatic assault weapons. This isn't an automatic assault weapon ban or registry. He also talked about high speed and high capacity, magazines. You don't have to register magazines, according to Illinois State Police. So listener Jeff said that confusion, it really muddles things even more, and says if the governor's unclear, how can he say it's clear? And that was, again, a listener message from Jeff. And Jeff, that was the question I asked him, ultimately, is if the rules aren't set in stone, how can you enforce a law that could lead to people getting a felony? And then that's when he started talking about, the right-wing talking points and how he believes it's widespread understood. So, Jeff, I just wanted to make sure you knew I did eventually get your voicemail, even though you left it last week. Another listener asked about the attachments, and I didn't get that listener's name. They just left a message, but saying that, what about attachments like a flashlight? You can attach a flashlight to a semi-automatic firearm rail. Listen, I don't think that they were thinking about flashlights, but again, the frequently asked questions change all the time. So it's pretty amazing. And Dimitri, I do see your message there in the live stream. I've seen your message in particular, Dimitri. It's an interesting conundrum that I've got to delve into even more. I know that other experts in this space, which I am by far not an expert, I am just a reporter, but that is an interesting story. Dimitri's shared some stuff with me about questions he has, not necessarily about the gun and magazine ban, but in general about naturalized citizens, people who go through the naturalization process. They come from this country from other countries. They go through the process. They probably learn more about the U.S. Constitution than your kids do in school. They take that test. It's a long, arduous process, and then they become naturalized citizens. They have those rights bestowed by your creator in the United States. The right to free speech, the right to vote, the right to keep and bear arms. But Dimitri says that there's been one particular place where he's not had the ability to have some of his other friends who've been naturalized purchase a firearm. Zhang, you as well. You took that test. Yes, you did. So again, Dimitri, I have gotten your message, and I've gotten other messages in email, but right now I'm just looking at, in particular, the questions I've received about the gun ban. So I will have to go through, maybe we do this sometime next week, the frequently asked questions that state police have on their website. So we'll have to take a deep dive into that, even though that's not the rules, because the second notice rules didn't get approved by JCAR. So we're still working on the original emergency rules. So we'll have to take those rules, review those, because that's what's going to be enforced January 1st. And then also we'll take a look at the frequently asked questions to see how much those are different. So that's, I just wanted to share some of the listener comments I've been getting. Again, please do email me, bishoponair@gmail.com. Also, be sure to follow me on Twitter, X, Facebook, YouTube, message me that way, and we can connect. Something else I wanted to cover, not concerning Illinois' gun and magazine ban, but the Second Amendment Foundation, highlighting how they've filed a federal lawsuit in California challenging that state's law that requires firearm dealers to record video of all transactions, calling it a violation of First, Second, Fourth, Fifth, and 14th Amendment rights. So they are throwing everything at this thing. And this is in California. So I think it's important that people realize what's happening in other states could possibly come up in a state like Illinois, because when California's had a semi-automatic firearms ban and a magazine ban in place for a while, Illinois, we're about a full year into this. So what happens? But the Second Amendment Foundation and the California Rifle and Pistol Association saying that they are filing that action in the courts and making sure that they are not on video surveillance. But you think about all the other things that have happened in the state legislature here in Illinois and the possible legislation. One bill several years ago would have required firearm owner identification card holders to submit fingerprints in order to get their FOID card. That did not get approved. They do have fingerprints as an option, if you are to get a concealed carry license and you want that quicker. You can provide fingerprints, but it's not required in the state of Illinois. And there are big questions about, well, fingerprints criminals submit to, not somebody wanting to exercise their constitutional civil liberties. You don't have to provide your fingerprints in order to write a blog. You don't have to provide your fingerprints in order to become, a news person, an independent news person, a journalist. So you've got that interesting question as to what's possible in the state of Illinois. Looking at some other national headlines, USA Today talking about how the President of the United States launched a national law enforcement database. It's coming from the USA Today, saying that Joe Biden launched the national database Monday to help hold law enforcement accountable for misconduct. That's interesting as we see, the overall questions about, databases in general. So law enforcement may have to submit to that type of database. But all of this, of course, tracking and tracing people for things that might be considered, public safety, but starts crossing the line into civil liberties and constitutional rights, then you get some really interesting dilemmas. But one thing that's happening when it comes to constitutional rights, we have the United States Constitution. It's different than all the other countries in the world. It's got so many inalienable rights, not rights bestowed to you by the government, but rights bestowed to you by your creator. So I think that's clear. We got the First Amendment, the rights to free speech, the right to free assembly, the rights to have whatever religion you want, the rights to the free press, which I exercise daily. But then you got the Second Amendment that backs that up, right? The right to keep and bear arms, right behind the First Amendment. And then you can go down to the Fourth and Fifth, and then Fourth Amendment, rights of not being searched without a warrant. Fifth Amendment, rights to not have to incriminate yourself. And then you got amendments in there about the issue of, and maybe Zhang and Dimitri could help me out here, but you've got other amendments about cruel and unusual punishment and equal protection under the law, and the 14th Amendment, and so on. But other countries don't have that. And in particular, you've got the United European Union that doesn't have that. And here's a story from the Associated Press that the EU is beginning to probe Elon Musk's X, which is raising some concerns about free speech advocates. We'll just read a little bit of this from the Associated Press. The European Union Monday made Elon Musk's online platform X the first tech company to face an investigation under Europe's tough new regulations designed to, quote, clean up social media and protect people from toxic online content. This coming out of a London headline, right? So how that's written over there, fascinating. To clean up social media and to protect people from toxic online content. Toxic online content. You mean words? You mean free speech? How this is going to impact X in the future, and whether Elon Musk is going to sustain those attacks. It'll be interesting. But the 27-nation bloc, according to the Associated Press, ratcheting up pressure on X and asking the company in October for information on its handling of hate speech, misinformation, and violent terrorist conduct and content related to the Israel-Hamas war. They go on to report that the case presents the first test of the Digital Services Act, part of a set of pioneering regulations the EU's drawn up to rein in power of tech companies. Another way you could characterize that is to limit the ability for people to freely post online. So, when you step back and analyze how news articles are written, this one from the Associated Press, it's kind of fascinating to clean up social media or to limit free speech. So, I mean, rights are always in the, I guess, in the arena, battling with different perspectives of what people think these rights really mean. So fascinating. And then you get another headline, Biden administration hit with lawsuits over gas furnace clampdown, natural gas industry suing the Biden administration over new rules restricting gas-powered home furnaces. So there you go. That's just a quick review of not just stuff happening with the Second Amendment, but even things that could possibly impact First Amendment rights here in this country when it comes to the EU cracking down on what can be posted online because they don't have a First Amendment free speech that's clearly spelled out in the U.S. Constitution. Just fascinating to see all of this. Appreciate you guys hanging out and being part of it all. You can email me at any time, bishoponair@gmail.com. Find me on X, on Twitter, and so on. So let's make it happen, all right? All right, stay tuned. We got another segment coming up for you local city council buffs. What you want to watch, of course, is the council corral. I've got that coming your way next. All right, so like, subscribe, follow along live each and every weekday morning here with Bishop.